That didn't work out so well. It's not coming off. Hopefully your coho doesn't come off. Double! That was awesome. Let's take a look at the rods and the reels that we like to use when we're fishing for coho. Today we're going to be using the Pacific Angler Custom Guide Series Okuma rod. This is a medium heavy rod. This is what we'll use for Chinook too. This is our go-to rod for coho in Chinook, 365 days of the year. Now, if you wanted to get a rod specific for coho, you could go down to a medium action rod, but we might fish for coho and Chinook in the same day, so we often will just keep this rod on the boat. But if you want to go a little lighter and get a little bit more action on the rod, a medium is a good choice. For a reel, we're using an Islander TR3. Any mooching reel will do, like an MR3, a TR3. You're not fishing really deep. We're going to be in the top 50 feet of the water column, so you don't need a really tight, stout drag that we might use when we're winter Chinook fishing or maybe fishing down as deep as 300 feet. For line, we're going to use 30 up to 40 pound monofilament. Some of our reels here on the guide boat have braid and mono. When we're fishing deep, the braid can be an advantage, but braid's not needed when you're coho fishing. Again, we're quite shallow, so your favorite 30 or 40 pound monofilament mainline is the way to go. On the terminal end here, I have a 6-ball bead chain swivel, a split ring, and then a Sampo style ball bearing swivel to some sort of quick snap. You're going to be fishing fast for coho, and that means a lot of flasher rotation. So we find just a 6-ball bead chain swivel on its own, you're still going to get a little bit of line twist. That's why we like to combine this 6-ball bead chain with the Sampo ball bearing swivel to make sure we don't get any line twist after a full day of coho fishing. When we're fishing for coho in the Strait of Georgia, the fish are pretty shallow. They're usually in that top 50-foot water column. The water's usually pretty clear. It's summer, June, July, August, September. We have a lot of sunlight. So we're really going to focus on flashers that have a lot of reflective qualities and UV qualities. We're not necessarily looking for flashers where one side's glow tape or glow tape on both sides. Those flashers have their place when we're fishing deep. But up top, we want lots of flash and lots of UV. So let's take a look at some of our favorites. Right up top, right up high in that water column, we like to run chrome flashers. So some of the best are the Oki Big Shooter series. The Betsy is a pretty famous one in plaid. That's the original, and then this one is called plaid, and it has that chrome chartreuse green finish, and then the back is just pure chrome. So right up top, 10, 15, 20, 25 feet, this flasher is a must-have. Another excellent one are UV purple blades. So this one has been really popular the past few years. It's the Gibbs Twisted Sister. It's as a UV purple blade, double moon jelly, fluorescent green and fluorescent red stripe. That's a really, really good flasher for coho up top. And these UV purple ones are also great. We have the Jellyfish Kinetic Glow, has some great kinetic tape on there, a glow stripe on the back for a little bit of extra, when you're fishing deeper, just a little bit more contrast, that can be good. And another one that's great is the Purple Onion Glow. So UV purple blade, purple onion tape, and then a small glow strip on the back. Last but not least are your chartreuse blades. So the Green Onion Glow, cousin to the Purple Onion Glow, another must-have, real bright chartreuse UV blade. You can see that in the sun. Some green onion tape and a little bit of glow on the back. And another one that I really like that not a lot of people know about is the Derby Winner. So this kind of combines a few different flashers here. You have a UV chartreuse blade, you have your plaid silver Betsy style tape, and then you have some more chartreuse on the back, and then a glow stripe. So if you have your chrome flashers, your UV purple flashers, and your chartreuse and green blades in those colors, you're off to a great start for some coho success. Okay, let's talk about hoochies. So when we're fishing for coho, We've definitely found over the years that one of the best things to tow behind that flasher is a hoochie, and in particular, some sort of white hoochie. So these are some of our favorites. Let's go through them. So this is the OA12R. This is an amazing hoochie. If you ask a lot of people what their top hoochie is for Coho and for Chinook in shallow water, actually, this white UV hoochie, once it's in the water, kind of takes on a purple hue and is absolutely a phenomenal hoochie for fishing in BC for Coho and Chinook. It's one that you got to have in the box. Another one with a little bit of twist on that is the OAL12R. Basically the same hoochie, but it sort of has that luminescent rainbow shimmer to it. Sometimes you can't get an OAL12R, but you can get the other one. So if you can find either of these, you got to get them because they're hard to find. Another must-have for Coho and Chinook up shallow. And last but not least is the OAX15R. So this is a UV white hoochie with a hot pink stripe down the side. So the Coho feed a lot on euphausiids and krill, and they will key in on that pink sometimes. So that's a good change up to have. So if you have those three hoochies, you're in good shape for Coho. Let's take a look at what we want to put inside that hoochie when we're rigging it up. We don't always use inserts, but when you're fishing for Coho up top, you want to take advantage of that clear water in the sun. And we like to use these Gibbs Delta Mylar squid inserts. So you don't need to put in a gum pucky or a bead because that's built into it here. So there's 4 different inserts that you can get. You have Echo Flash, Mother of Pearl, Laser Silver, and I believe this one is called Rainbow. Yeah, so any 4 of those up inside that hoochie is just going to give you a little bit more flash, a little bit more dynamic look to that hoochie. That simply goes up, sits inside of the head here, and here's how we like to rig it. 40 or even 50 pound test monofilament. You can go heavy when you're tying a hoochie leader. It's just going to give that hoochie a bit more kick in behind the flasher. We're usually going to do tandem 4/0 hooks. So this one's tied with a couple 4/0s. And leader length is relatively short, anywhere from 24 to 30 inches. And then some type of swivel. This is a sample ball bearing swivel, or you could use a 1/0 or 2/0 nickel crane swivel. No need to use a 6-ball B-chain swivel. Whatever you have on hand is going to work. And then that's going to clip on to the end of your flasher. Hoochies are great fishing for Coho, but spoons can be equally productive and also a lot of fun to fish. So let's take a look at a couple of our favorites. We generally fish pretty small spoons. So one of our favorite small spoons on the market is the Skinny G. A lot of you are going to be familiar with that from your Chinook fishing. Gibbs came out with this color a couple years ago now. The Purple Phantom is awesome. You got a nickel plate spoon here with moon jelly and then purple moon jelly, and then the Chartreuse Phantom. So nickel on the back, original moon jelly, and then Chartreuse moon jelly. Both are awesome producers for Coho. Another one of my favorites is the Silver Horde Kingfisher in the 3.0 size. This is in the Silver Night series, so I don't know if you can see that when I'm moving it around, but the nice thing about this series is it's true silver plate. So true silver plate has a nice white flash. It's a very, very bright reflective material compared to nickel. And then of course we have to have some chartreuse on there. So we have a little bit of moon jelly tape and then some chartreuse splatter on there. This is a killer spoon up shallow for Coho, and I've also done pretty good for Chinook in shallow water. The number on that is 841. So there you have it. Some of our favorite smaller, bright, shiny chartreuse and purple UV spoons for Coho. Give them a try. We usually will fish a little bit shorter leader for Coho. So for Chinook, sometimes we'll do a 6-foot leader, but for Coho, I'll often run a shorter leader of 30-pound test, usually about 4 or 5 feet. So mix that up, put some spoons out, put some hoochies out, and then see what the Coho are preferring on that day. So we've been moving around a bit. We just rolled into this spot here. Saw a bunch of bait, a bunch of Coho on the sounder in the top 50 feet of the water column. So we're gonna roll our Purple Onion Glow white UV hoochie on this side. Over here we have Betsy with a white UV hoochie, and then UV kinetic purple flasher with the purple phantom skinny G. So as usual, the fish are up top, they're feeding on that shallow bait. So we're gonna run 27, 37, and then 17 out the back. So when I'm setting my gear for coho, especially when I'm fishing 3 rods and I'm fishing fast, I'm gonna be making tight turns. We're gonna get on fish, we wanna loop around, get right back on them. They're in tight schools. I don't wanna go too far off the clip. About 10 or 12 feet is great. So I'm just gonna bring the rod forward, grab the line. You can see it's about a rod length there. Put it in the clip. Just on the black line, it's good for coho. We're not fishing too deep, so we don't want to set it too tight. Reel down and suck off that slack. There we go, we're fishing. So how fast do you fish for coho? We want a fast flasher rotation. So Chinook can be like this, but for coho we want to crank it up a couple notches. We're fishing 15-pound cannonballs, not 18s. We're not fishing deep, so 15s are perfect. And we have a nice 45-degree cable angle right here. And we're doing right now 3.5 miles per hour speed over ground. Depending if you're going into the current or with the current, that speed over ground is going to probably change. So just keep an eye on your cable angle. If you're about a 45 or maybe even a little bit flatter out to 50, you're probably going about the right speed, and you're probably going to be like 2.8 to 3.8, somewhere in there. It's pretty hard to troll too fast for coho. So I can see a couple on the sonar there. Josh is putting me on some fish, so I'm going to get the other rods out. So we already got this one in the clip. Just going to check it for weeds. Looks good. So couldn't even get the 3rd rod out. Not bad for flat, calm, hot, sunny conditions. So that was a little bit deeper. That one was 37, which doesn't surprise me. You know, it's flat, calm. Double! Wild coho. We don't want to bring the wild coho in the boat. It's important that we do a gaff release for these fish. You're going to have a really good survival rate, and that's what we want. We want this fish to make it back. So Josh is going to show us how to do a gaff release, get nice and low on the leader. He's going to drop his left hand and lift the gaff up. All right, we're on him. A huge bait ball, fish all over the screen. Let's see if we can get 3 out this time. I couldn't even get my rod down before Josh got a fish on. Very, very rude. Probably gonna get a double, but we'll take a look at this one here, see if it's a hatchery. Yeah, we can't even get the rods down here, and this is where your sonar is gonna come into play. There's a huge bait ball there. There's coho all over it. Screen is blank now. We only have 1 rod out. We're just gonna pivot on that rigger real quick and get right back on those fish. That's important when you're coho fishing. When you find a nice school of fish like that, get back on them quickly. What we're doing here is we're seeing fish on the sounder. We're gonna vary our speed. So we're speeding up the flasher, and then we'll slow it down and speed it up. And that'll just change the action of that hoochie. There, it's like that. Yep, he's in. Yep, double. And it makes them bite. Oh, we just got this one in the boat. So this fin right here is called an adipose fin. It's missing. So when you see that little fleshy fin right there, that's a wild fish. BC clips 100% of their hatchery coho. So we know that we can keep this one. Currently the limit's 2 hatchery coho per day. So we're doing a nice safe gaff release on the wild fish. You know, we're not even gonna net those wild fish. You might lose the odd hatchery fish, but that's okay. It's better to take proper care of those wild fish. You see that adipose fin's missing, you get the net out, scoop them up, put them in the box. Oh yeah, he's there. Nice.
Literally can't keep the rods in the water. Got another beautiful hatchery coho, but we got our limit, so he's got to go back. Holy, that's big.
That thing crushed it. Nothing in nature swims in a straight line at a constant speed. So anything they're eating, squid, herring, anchovies, krill, everything is erratic. Probably the worst thing you can do trolling for coho is go at a constant speed in a straight line. Get those flashers spinning up, slowing down. You can do that with a turn, or you can do it with your throttle. This is ridiculous. No, that's a wild one actually. Oh, we got another fish on. Ah! Okay, so there you go. Some pretty epic Strait of Georgia coho fishing. I mean, we've just been hitting fish all day. It's 7 o'clock at night right now. We're still hitting fish 15 to 35 feet. And all the things we talked about earlier have been producing really well. We have our chrome Betsy flashers with the white UV hoochies, our UV kinetic purple flashers, the purple phantom skinny G was really good today, and then our purple onion with the purple onion glow with the white UV hoochie, all the hoochies with the Mylar Inserts. So this is the gear that works. These are the depths that work. The fish are in that top water column. We're going over a huge bait ball right now at 50 feet. And we talked about speed. So put all that together, find the fish, troll fast, use the right gear, and get out there this summer for some great Georgia Strait coho fishing. For more tips like this, come by the shop or visit us at pacificangler.ca.